You know, ever since I came up with the idea to create a museum room, the one question in my mind was, how can I make money? And that's where this comes along. Ever since I bought and put this together and put it here in the museum room, I've collected a giant thing of quarters. I've had people come over and load quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter just to play this machine. Wait, what's that? This doesn't take quarters? So I've been stealing people's money just for the hell of it. Shh. I can use that money. Hey guys, welcome back to Classically Trained, and I've been seeing a lot of videos online of people who bought the arcade 1-up machines and just do like after, a certain amount of months and if they still play it. And I purchased mine, like most of you, on Boxing Day, this past Boxing Day, because Walmart was having them on sale for $3.29. So I did pick one up, and of course I picked up Street Fighter because you guys know how much I absolutely love Street Fighter 2. And we're just gonna go through basically of what I've done throughout the month and a half since I've owned it. If I still play it, is it worth it? Should you buy one yourself? And I'm going to give you guys a rundown exactly of what it is. So basically, each Arcade 1 cabinet comes up with 3 different games. And with the Street Fighter, you get 3 different versions of Street Fighter 2. So for every arcade cabinet you get of Arcade 1-up, you get 3 different games inside your cabinet. And because I chose Street Fighter 2 as my favorite video game franchise of all time, it was the one arcade machine I had to have. And right here you can see the 3 different versions of Street Fighter 2 that you get with your cabinet. And the really cool thing is you can switch between them anytime you feel like it. So you got the Championship Edition, Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And because I don't care much for the Turbo on my game, I always pick the new Challengers. It's just the best version of Street Fighter. I like it a little bit slower. You have all the characters on it. And the really cool thing about this machine is it is exactly like you would see it at the arcade. You have the baseboard, you got the backboard. The really cool thing is you got an awesome just showing all the characters panel at the front where the TV is. And of course you have your classic joysticks and buttons. And of course these machines are 2-player, so you can play with anybody that you want to challenge, which is really cool. And of course, like most have known, that it does not take quarters. So this is a machine that is built to last and just to have like crazy replayability. So when you start up the machine, you're going to see that it's going to pop up the Arcade 1-up menu. It just takes a little bit. And here we go. We got your Arcade 1-up. It just loads up. So you know what? This is the company. We are making these arcade cabinets for you guys, and I really love them. They're really awesome. Can't wait to try the new ones. So here is the main menu. So of course you can cycle between the different types. Your Street Fighter Championship Edition, new Challengers, Turbo. Like I said, I always go for the new Challengers. And then right here you just hit the jab button, which I usually do. It just gives you a basic rundown of what your controls are. You just hit the start button, 1-player button here. Click that and you're automatically loaded in the game. As you can see, it's free play, so you can play it as long as you want. It has all the characters like you would for like the Super NES and stuff when it came out. Let's get into a game. So you have all your characters. The animation and the gameplay is very fluid. It's not cheaply done. Like you can tell that for the $329 you just paid, you're getting something that is pretty decent. As you can hear, that is the joystick clicking. I'm going to pick my favorite character, which is kind of hard because I really love Chun-Li, and I really like Ken, but Chun-Li is the hottest girl, and I ran out of time, so we're going to go with Ken. So Ken versus Guile. I'm just going to give you a basic of what the background looks like. Let's turn up a little bit of music. And of course I'm playing with one hand, so just to give you guys the basics. As you can see, it's very fluid. I'll getting my ass kicked by Guile as usual. Now, because this is the arcade version of the game, Duke Nukem is very difficult at times, especially if you don't know the combos of a certain character. If you're just trying them for the first time, you're going to have fun getting screwed over. Now, the analog stick is actually very, very good. They've done a really good job on this machine. You got a lot of clicking buttons, so you do have that arcade feel. Of course, you have the power button up there. One player, two player here, and their own joystick and such. Up here you have the volume, which I will put right now for you to hear. There's two different volume options. There is low, and then you have the high-rise sound. And of course, the speaker is right there. This panel does come off. I'll turn down the volume so you guys can hear me. This panel does come off, so if there's ever a problem and you need to get to the back, you can. It just pops right off. These two, they do come out. You just twist them. The one thing that I've had with the joysticks is that it does kind of turn around while in gameplay. So I found a way of putting it's like a protector that holds it in, so it does not twist off, which is really nice. It just makes it a little sturdier for my taste. Of course, you have the story, and it tells you buttons. You got the different reading the stuff that you can read right there, just telling you exactly what's in the game. Now, this is a Capcom licensed machine, so if you guys are wondering if this is like a third party, no, this was actually put together by Capcom. They go and they tell, you know, Arcade1Up, we're gonna take care of the game itself, make sure the game is the perfect form of Street Fighter 2, which they're really good at, so you're not getting something cheap. So like many have asked, I've been asked the question of how long do I actually play this machine for, if I played it since I purchased it on Boxing Day, and the question is, you know, whether it's worth buying. I'm going to tell you if it's worth buying first, and then I'll get into my personal playtime. I personally think it is worth the price tag. You're getting a full arcade cabinet feel, like you are at an arcade inside your house. It's one of those things where if you grew up in the 90s, you've loved arcades, you've always wanted your own arcade machine at home. So as soon as I saw it was on sale, I purchased it right away. And because it is Street Fighter 2, that pushed my decision even further. One really cool thing is that, you know, you can sit and play this, which I have now, but I really want to buy the Arcade1 riser. It's just a piece of, it's just a giant piece of wood that basically raises the machine up to have it so I can stand and play. The only trouble is that here in Canada, Walmart.ca is the only supplier of the Arcade1Up machines right now, and they are completely out of stock on the Arcade1 riser, so I've been really waiting to see if it's gonna ever come into stock, or I'll just go to FYE in America and just pick one up sometime whenever I go. To answer the question of how long I've actually played this machine, this is absolutely addicting. I've played this machine one day for 4 hours straight. Let's just say I've wanted to beat the Street Fighter 2 game with a certain character, and when I was younger, I was not the best at Street Fighter. It took me a while to get into it. Now with the controls and such, I'm actually a lot easier to remember people's combos. I turned on the volume so you guys can hear me better, but yeah, so I've been playing this non-stop. I play it every day. I usually like to try and spend 2 or 3 hours to play it. Like I said, I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. I think it's an amazing product. We are getting a full arcade experience at home. Definitely worth the price, I find. And with the popularity of these machines, Arcade1Up has announced that they're making new ones. So there's a Mortal Kombat arcade machine, which I will be picking up to go along with my Street Fighter, because Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are my absolute favorite games of all time. Favorite franchises of all time. Mostly Street Fighter takes it over Mortal Kombat for me, though. Yeah, you're getting a full wooden arcade cabinet, which is totally worth the price. You got awesome artwork. You can tell that a lot of love and dedication went into making this system, the idea, the plans, and it's definitely worth the money. And after a month and a half, I can still say I'll be playing this every day for years until I have, until it breaks down. There's only three things in life that I've always wanted. I've always wanted an arcade machine, which I do now. A jukebox. I've always wanted a jukebox, and whenever I see one, I will be picking one up. And I've always wanted a Godfather clock. So those are three big things when I was young that I always grew up wanting to have, and I already have one of them. And if you guys excuse me, I'm going to be playing it now. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to join me up.